very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society.
You're in violation of secure communication procedures, Commodore.
So we just went ahead and fixed the glitch.
There is no America. There is no democracy.
Our fifth objective, a new world order.
There are no nations. There are no languages. There are no Russians. There are no Arabs. There are no third worlds. There is no West.
Right-wing conspiracy.
What do you call it when the assassins accuse the assassin?
A new world order.
Thank you for plugging in to the Stones Unturned podcast.
Well, just a second there, Professor. We fixed the glitch.
I'm your host, Professor Thomas Henry Horan.
He reads everything.
Hello there, you lucky devils. You better bet your bippies he reads everything. You are indeed plugged in live to Professor Thomas Henry Horan and the Stones Unturned podcast. Channel, you got the chat back on the side where you want it. That's good. Hi, Creepy Crawl. Hi, Guthrie. Is Rogers right? Was Jiminy Kimmy sweating like Randy Andy in a pizza joint and walking? I sound great. Please feel free to start the episode. Or as some people call them, episodes. Hi, Ivana. Hi, Nathan. Let's get right to content today. Let's do that. First of all, is this first of all? No, first of all, see, this is why I wanted to wait another 5 years. Hold on. There's a documentary came out that did a lot of homework for me. You guys can watch. However, give me a minute. It's on Hulu. It just hit Hulu. It's this one. Can you see that? It's called Daughters of the Cult. It just hit. I just saw it today. I'm starting to watch it. It's great. Start there. This solves a lot of this solves all problems. This documentary solves a lot of problems. Watch. If not, I'm going to rehash. We'll hit all the important things on the when we come back to Manson, when we come back to the phony kidnapping of the Lindbergh brat and Dwight Morrow, head of, he was ambassador to Mexico, but that made him intelligence chief of station. The Mexican Revolution, the birth of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, everything. This is a big part of it. If you've heard of Colonia Dignidad, if you've heard of the Children of God, if you have heard of Waco and David Koresh, if you have heard of William Jeffries, the Mormon, or Mormon if you prefer, roll them all up in one great big doobie and smoke this. The Daughters of the Cult, Orville LeBaron. I can't believe they I can't believe they made a documentary about this. It's Orville, E-R-V-I-L, LeBaron, as in Chrysler LeBaron. He's this FLDS, this Mormon fundamentalist, polygamous sect who moved to Mexico in 1924 and came back. And no more spoilers. You got to see this. You don't Google it. If you don't want to pay for Hulu, that's fine. But if you can watch this, otherwise, when we come back to Manson, in particular, and Manson's trips to Mexico. I'm not making fun of Mexico. My Spanish accent is terrible. I say Mexico. They say in the West, they say Mexican. Move to Mexican. Move to Baja, Mexico, which is technically Baja, California. because Baja means low. So Lower California. There's Alta California, which is what you call California. But if you live in California, you're from California, that Alta California is north of what? Fresno? North of Bakersfield, north of LA, north of Santa Barbara. That's Baja. That's Alta. That's Upper California. Lower California includes the Baja Peninsula. But Baja just means low. Low California. Orville is a cousin of Mitt Romney. I believe it. Well, Trump was named in the papers. We talked about that yesterday. We'll get back to that in a minute. Watch this documentary. Look at the dates. Think about and you think, why have I never heard of this? Oh, there's much more than that, creepy crawl. Don't spoil it for people who haven't seen it. You gotta watch this one. There's a levity to it, even though terrible crimes were committed. There's a levity. It's entertaining. These people, like the daughters, he had over 50 kids that they know of. The ones who are on camera are something. And wait till you see it. If you haven't seen it, I'll rehash all the most important things and a lot of things that I'm sure will not be in the documentary. I haven't seen the whole thing yet. Okay, now, let's get back to the news. So this list is dropping. Most of these names have been out there for a while. This is official. And these are people who flew. It's a mashup of lists. Right? There's a list of people who flew on Epstein's private plane. Not all of them went to Lolita Island. Trump flew a couple of times. I think 4 times Trump is on there back in 93, 94. This is when he's flying around the country lobbying against Indian casinos because they're competing against his business and raising venture capital to launch his Trump properties or whatever, his first IPO. Is that Trump Properties? Trump Resorts or whatever, Trump Resorts International. To launch his IPO, he needed a lot of venture capital funding. And venture capital was still a new thing, remember? This was a brand new thing. Remember, the venture capitalist who first invested in Apple computers, he and his friend were the first two venture capitalists. I think they put $10,000 into Apple at first. So then that was, 15 years, less than 20 years before Trump took his IPO public. So he only flew, I think he flew from Ohio to New York or places like that. Trump's always admitted that he knew him. But the thing I have to, Trump's like, yeah, I knew him. Of course I knew him. Business. Knew a lot of people on Wall Street. Said he was a nice guy. At least he admits it. Look at all the people who won't admit it, or people who have stood under the hot lights and claimed, oh, Clinton's not on there. It's just a conspiracy theory. Yes, once he flew to Africa. He's on there he's eventually going to be revealed to be on there over 50 times. Now, a lot of them are names of victims, accusers, right? I don't think there's any news in the list that's out there today. There's no real news except Clinton. Clinton was John Doe 56 or whatever, and a couple of names are still redacted. The name that no one is talking about. The name that no one is talking about. No one is talking about is, to me, one of the most interesting of the names I haven't shown you yet. To me, the burger is the people who are shitting their pants. Not that Bill Clinton's shitting his pants, but the people who are shitting their pants on behalf of Bill Clinton. The people who've defended Clinton all these years. Shitting their pants. Because they have to admit they've been lying. And now they're going to have to explain why they've been lying, maybe. I know why they've been lying. Not all of them have any horrible crimes to hide. Just being associated with that guy, or Ghislaine, just being associated with those people now is a curse. But I think Trump deserves a little bit of credit of never denying that he was a business associate of Jeffrey Epstein's. Whatever that's worth. I'm not for Trump. I'm not against Trump. Let me make one thing perfectly clear. Read my lips. I am not anti-Trump. I want that clear. But there's this pissing contest that's been going on between Jimmy Kimmel and Aaron Rodgers. And Jimmy Kimmel talked a lot of smack about Aaron Rodgers playing word games about his vaccine. Right? Instead of just coming right out and saying, no, I'm not vaccinated, but he really, I can't use this word anymore, but a really way he has of saying something like Carl Gennaro does and letting you, and I didn't say that. So Jimmy Kimmel had said something, took some pretty, I don't know if you care about Jimmy Kimmel. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers cares. David Bakhtiari, a teammate of Rodgers when he played football, when he played quarterback for the Packers. David Bakhtiari, great offensive lineman. Once they blow out their left knee, they're done. He's been done for years. The Packers keep paying him more and more money to have more and more surgeries on his knee instead of playing football. I'm not making fun of David Bakhtiari. What I'm saying is, Bakhtiari clapped back and said, he pulled up a clip of Jimmy Kimmel saying people's obsession with Epstein's client list is just a tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. And Bakhtiari said, tell me you're on that list without telling me you're on that list. Well, Kimmel clapped back. Well, it turns out what David Bakhtiari was talking about was Jimmy Kimmel's very close friend, Epstein's personal chef, who was arrested hiding in Jimmy Kimmel's house. Not Jimmy Kimmel's house in the Tennessee mountains that he only visits once a year for tax purposes. His house where he lived at the beach outside Los Angeles. What does that prove? I can't tell you. But Kimmel is like Manny. Jimmy Kimmel is the Manny Rubenstein. I mean, Manny, you know who, of late night real TV, okay? He's a thin-skinned, cheap, I mean morally and ethically, not financially. I don't like him. I don't like the guy. He's the Manny of late night TV. He comes back so Aaron Rodgers says on the Pat McAfee show, where he brings it up again. Like Jimmy Kimmel's nervous about that list coming out. He didn't say Jimmy Kimmel had been to Lolita Island. He just said Jimmy Kimmel's nervous about the list coming out. That's all he said. Which now that you know the message, you see the madness, right? He said what he said very deliberately. Well, Kimmel slaps back. Oh, I'll see you in court, buddy. Which, comedian, you talk about an asshole who can dish it out and can't take it. You're looking at Karen Rodgers and Jiminy Kimmel. Two solid gold assholes who can dish it out but can't take it. And now you got these two cats tied up in a gunny sack fighting over the Epstein client list. What could be sweeter? What could be sweeter? Adam Perry Lang, that's right. Who was arrested in Jiminy Kimmel's house. Jimmy Kimmel. It's just one of those. You know the story of the tar baby, right? That's not tar baby doesn't mean African person. Tar babies are green. They're made from pine tar. It's a trap. It's a adhesive trap for pests. Tar babies catch pests. So there's a folk tale. There's an American Aesop fables. These are the Brer Rabbit, Brer Fox, Uncle Remus stories, right? Some of them are African, some of them are English. You kind of get all connected together and collected these folk tales. And they're about this. The two main characters are Brer Rabbit and Brer Fox, right? Brer Rabbit lives on his wits. He's a trickster god. Okay, he's Odysseus. He's the African trickster god. He's whoever. He's Loki. He's whoever. He's not a good guy. He's Peter Rabbit. Okay, he's the trickster. He lives on his wits. So he's walking along one morning, and if you've ever lived 1 mile south of Interstate 70, you're going to recognize this. He sees this fellow, and Brer Rabbit tips his hat and says, "Good morning." Well, the guy doesn't say good morning back. Now, if you've ever spent 5 minutes south of Interstate 70 before noon, okay, if you don't say good morning, we hang your ass to a sour apple tree. So he gets into this whole, well, I said good morning, why are you being so rude? He's arguing with this inanimate doll, this tar baby. So eventually he tries to punch him and his hand gets stuck and then he which is what you see happen with actual pest animals. They get tangled up with these adhesive traps, okay? The moral of the story is the more he fights this brick wall, he's just hurting himself, right? That's the moral of the story. Arguing with an idiot, you're just hurting yourself. So you're watching two tar babies. You're watching two cats in a sack. Jimmy Kimmel and Karen Rogers. Now they're this can only get better. This can only get better. Hi, Sea Pines. Hi, Kevin. Let me show you the name. It just happens to be two of my favorite people who never did a single solitary thing to me except exist. Name one thing Jimmy Kimmel can do that I can't do. I'm no David Letterman. I'm no Phil Donahue. I'm no Oprah Winfrey. I'm no Drew Hurst Beeson. But name one thing. Show me a clip of something Jimmy Kimmel can do that I can't do better. I'll go to a Major League Baseball game and I'll sit there for 8 innings. I could do that. I could do that. I could do that. I could do that. But there'll be like one play, maybe 2 plays. I'm like, boy, I don't know if I could do that. I go to a football game, basketball game. It's a joke. There's no way I could do that. But baseball, something I played fairly well. But if you're going to play third base, you need to be 6'3". And if you're going to play in the outfield, you need a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. If you're going to play left field. I had a pretty good fastball. But I wasn't tall enough, and I've played third base really aggressively. But, those little plays, I won't go into detail. Show me one thing Jimmy Kimmel can do that I can't do. Does he play a musical instrument? I can't play a musical instrument. If he plays a musical instrument, he wins. If he can play the tambourine, he wins. How did he get a show? What's he? You know what? I'm gonna let my old friend Karen Rogers deal with Jiminy Kimmel. Where were we? Oh yeah. Let me see. Is it on the next slide? Yeah. Okay. Here's the list. Here's a few names that I think are interesting. It's not complete. A lot of these people have. It's just the redacted ones. Those are all victims, right? Or supposed victims. Stephen Hawking, Al Gore, Robert Jeffrey, what's her name's father, Michael Jackson, George Lucas. Okay, don't worry about those names. There was somebody's name that really surprised me. Anyway, the address book is far more valuable, trust me. Those are the people, like, when you see who he has there, like, Epstein had Henry Kissinger's office phone number at Harvard. Okay, you're never going to get Henry Kissinger on the phone calling that number. You know, that's all he had. But wait, there are people where Epstein had the phone number to the beach house, the cabana, the bathroom, the yacht, the plane, the dog walker's phone number. Are you with me? There are people where Epstein has like 20 phone numbers for that person. Those are the interesting people. Now, where was I? Epstein, complete list of names revealed. Among the names are former, and I checked this, our former director of the FBI, Louis Freeh. Oh, Naomi Campbell, Bruce Willis, Kate Blanchett. Whatever those names are worth. I don't know what the context is for any of those. The flight logs are different. As far as I know, Jiminy Kimmel is nowhere on any flight logs that he personally flew on the plane or visited the island. Oprah flew her own private plane there 11 times that we know of. She didn't need to ride on the Lolita Express. She was flying the Oprah whatever Express. Don't let me get off here today without checking into that thing about her school in Africa with the girls being kidnapped. Don't let me get off here without checking. I never got a chance to check into that. A special submarine for Stephen Hawking? Stephen Hawking might not have been on the plane. It's just a list of people who are mentioned in depositions and things, right? I hold back. I don't want to offend Puker fans unnecessarily. That's a Professor Dad thing. Oh, later on in the year. Yeah, okay, but this is true about Louis Freeh. Now, here's the thing about Louis Freeh. You remember Louis Freeh. Trump ally, Alan Dershowitz. Trump is a client of Alan Dershowitz's, that's true. It's just that you got to really watch. You really do have to really watch how anybody phrases anything about Trump. You really do. It was bad enough with W, but you really got to watch how these media outlets phrase things if they ever mention Trump. And they mention Trump 16, 17 times a day. Okay? But Alan Dershowitz and ex-FBI Director Louis Freeh, they are law partners, if I'm not mistaken. They are partners in a law firm. They work to... Louis Freeh's a lawyer. That's how you get to be... the FBI only hires lawyers. Or at least that's how they used to be. They are lobbying. This is November 2019. When was Jeffrey arrested the second time? Epstein arrest. A timeline. July 6th, Epstein is arrested. November 5th, here's a headline on CNBC. They wouldn't have bitched about this if they couldn't somehow stick it on Trump. And who knows? Maybe this is, I don't know. But it just seems like the only reason they're reporting on this is because they can try to tar Trump with this brush. are lobbying for an Israeli billionaire the U.S. has accused of corruption. Written by Brian Schwartz. Hold on. Oh, I know. Hold on. Here we go. Yeah, well, it's this polygamous cult. Never mind. Let's just look at this. Let's just look at Louis Freeh. Let me close that before I get sued. American attorney and former judge. Graduated from Rutgers University and New York University School of Law. Qualified for something. That's who the FBI hires. They don't hire cops. They hire lawyers. Damn good lawyers. No one is a harsher critic. You'll find no harsher critic of the Phoebes than myself. However, the last police force in the world I would ever tangle with is the FBI. Maybe NYPD. Scotland Yard's up there. They don't hire dummies at the FBI. They might hire everything else, but they don't hire dummies. A Republican, he was later appointed FBI director by President Bill Clinton. Assistant United States Attorney and United States District Judge of the United States District Court for the Southern District of New York, the one that Manny's dad worked for, as a publicist and propagandist. He worked for Louis Freeh. Basically, on behalf of Louis Freeh. A Republican appointed by Bill Clinton. You remember when he was appointed FBI director by Bill Clinton, right? Let's talk about that right now. Bill Clinton called, it's his prerogative. Most FBI directors, they're usually, you get 10 years, but you can, it's a presidential appointee. So, he was found dead on the morning of July 20th, 1993, in Fort Marcy Park. What day did Clinton fire the director of the FBI over the phone? He fired him on Saturday, right? He fired him a few hours, less than 24 hours. Certainly, before the body was found, less than 12 hours before Vince Foster died of lead poisoning. Didn't he fire? William S. Sessions was fired June 12th. No. Hold on. On July 19th, 1993. Janet Reno stabbed him in the back. He supposedly used a government plane to visit his daughter on several occasions. Okay? So he was fired on July 19th, which was a Saturday. Over the phone, said, don't bother coming into work Monday. We've changed the locks on your office. Okay? Why am I shouting? July 1993. He's fired on Monday, July 19th. Over the phone. He fired him over the phone. The next morning, early, a jogger finds Vince Foster's lifeless body lying in a puddle of mud with no blood. The blood got up and walked away. Vince Foster was still there. Okay. You know that part of the story. Okay? Do you know anything else about Louis Freeh? Oh, and by the way, William Sessions became the lawyer for the godfather of the Russian mafia. You know that, right? William Sessions? I'm not sticking up for William Sessions. What I'm saying is the timing of his firing. Semyon Mogilevich? That guy looks like a fucking mobster. Semyon, the brainy Don. Everybody tells me how smart John Gotti is. But I think he's a sociopath. Don't tell him I said that. I know a guard at the federal penitentiaries around here. And I said, those are usually, you don't have a lot of murderers, people like that. Federal prisoners, white-collar prisoners, organized crime. These are the smart guys. I said, who's the smartest prisoner you ever guarded? He didn't even hesitate. He said, John Gotti. He said, Gotti, it took him about a year. He runs that prison. And he said he didn't have any friends left on the outside that helped him. He just started over. He started over as prisoner number blah, blah, blah. Now he runs the goddamn prison. He's that smart. Okay, so that's that. Louis Freeh, Rutgers, New York University School of Law. He's from Jersey City, if that means anything to you. Born in North Bergen. North Bergen. Okay, that's that suburb that's now part of Jersey City, where all that Lindbergh stuff happened. All those Bergen. Went to Christian Brothers School. FBI Special Agent. Chief of the Organized Crime Unit. Deputy United States Attorney. Associate United States Attorney. U.S. Army Reserve. Eagle Scout, 1963. Most Eagle Scouts are not pizza, not... Never mind. Okay. Remember the pizza connection? So he made friends with a lot of these big mouth meatballs that you see on YouTube telling their bullshit stories. Louis Freeh had a lot to do with those guys getting sweetheart deals, plea deals, for telling their stories. Totally true stories. That's Louis Freeh and the pizza connection. Remember that? That pretty much broke the back of the mob. They've been replaced, but that pretty much broke the back of the East Coast. The East Coast Italian Mafia. Am I still on? I'm on, right? Okay. Okay, so, where was I? Louis Freeh. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The rest of his career. Murder trial of Walter Moody. Accused of the pipe bomb assassination of federal judge Robert Smith Vance in Birmingham, Alabama, and attorney Robert E. Robinson in Savannah, Georgia. Special prosecutor alongside Howard Shapiro. Appointed by George H.W. Bush, U.S. Federal Court, Southern District of New York. Director of the FBI. Ruby Ridge. Remember, Ruby Ridge internal investigation was ongoing when Freeh took over the FBI. Remember that. The Justice Department recommended he be censured for managerial failures in the investigation of Waco, or in the investigation of Ruby Ridge. Next big case, Waco. Right? He had nothing to do with the actions at Waco. It's the internal investigation into Waco. Remember, Janet Reno gave the public excuse for firing William Sessions. Clinton hires Louis Freeh, who deliberately, completely gums up these internal investigations into FBI conduct in these big cases. Khobar Towers. TWA Flight 800. That's Lockerbie, Scotland. Is that right? No. Yes? Olympic Park bombing. Centennial Olympic Park. Richard Jewell. The leaking of Richard Jewell's name. I'm still not 100% convinced he's 100% innocent. And I'm even less convinced now that I realize who was in charge. The Montana Freemen. The Unabomber. Robert Hansen. Spy case. Here's where it gets interesting. Hansen attended Mass at the same church as Louis Freeh. Wen-Ho Lee at Los Alamos National Laboratory. Charlie Tree. Vince Foster, Oklahoma City bombing. The Carnivore, before the current system, which is really just, right, it was called Carnivore Monitoring Communications. Accused of malpractice several times. It would later come out 2 years later that Robert Hansen had been recruited by the Russian. Okay. Freeh received backlash for not looking into whether Moscow had recruited someone in the FBI, despite being warned by senior investigator Thomas Kimmel. It would later come out that Hansen had been recruited. In 1994, after it was discovered that Aldrich Ames was a spy for the Russians, Freeh was advised to require routine polygraph tests. No action was taken. He said there's no reason to investigate. He covered for Hansen. Went to the same church as Hansen. So he resigned pretty much when George W. Bush became president. John Ashcroft praised him as a model law enforcement officer. You don't remember who replaced him. Remember Thomas J. Picard for 71 days until being replaced by Robert Mueller. Board of Directors, Bristol Myers Squibb. You might want to make a note of that. Louis Freeh on the board of directors of Bristol Myers Squibb. Board of directors of credit card issuer MBNA. You probably have a credit card issued by MBNA. Gavel Consulting Group. Freeh was hired by Nasser Kazemini to conduct an independent investigation into alleged financial improprieties into the relationship between Kazemini and former Senator Norm Coleman. At the time, Freeh was serving on the board of the National Ethnic Coalition of Organizations, whose chairman was Kazemini. Although Coleman had received roughly $100,000 in gifts from Kazemini, Freeh's investigation cleared both Coleman and Kazemini. In 2009, Louis Freeh was hired by Saudi Prince Bandar bin Sultan as his legal representative on issues surrounding the Al Yamama arms deal. I need trigger warnings. There needs to be a trigger warning when something ridiculous is going to pop up. Freeh was retained as independent investigator by the FIFA Ethics Committee in the bribery scandal centering on Mohammed bin Haman and Jack Warner. Freeh led the internal investigation into the Jerry Sandusky scandal. In August 2018, Freeh hired Rudy Giuliani to lobby the Romanian government, calling for amnesty for Freeh's clients in a corruption probe. In 2019, Freeh and his friend Alan Dershowitz lobbied the U.S. government on behalf of Israeli billionaire Dan Gertler. I'm going to go through these names backward. Dan Gertler, an Israeli billionaire, and natural resources. I didn't know Israel had any natural resources, except milk and honey. Diamond and copper mining interests in Congo. Cobalt, which is used to make lithium-ion batteries. See, the funny thing is, the salt-ion, new batteries are coming out, going to replace cobalt, lithium-ion. Panama Papers. Donald Trump issued Executive Order 13818, blocking all of Gertler's assets under U.S., freezing all of his assets for whatever that's worth. He's the grandson of Moshe Schnitzer, first president and co-founder of the Israel Diamond Exchange. Bought his first mine in Congo in 1997 when Bill Clinton was president. And the Clinton Foundation has done all this good work in Congo. Don't forget that. Artisanally mined diamonds. Glencore Partnership. Well, I think you get the idea. Okay, that's him. Freeh acquired Italian citizenship through his connections in propaganda due, maybe. Who knows? Project Megiddo? Project Megiddo was a report researched and written by the FBI under Louis Freeh. Released on October 20th, 1999, the report named followers of white supremacy, Christian identity, the American militia movement, black Hebrew Israelites, and apocalyptic cults as potential terrorists. Let's move backwards. We know about Jerry. The Al Yamama arms deal. This is something, this is not the, see, you haven't heard of this because this was not an American arms deal with Saudi Arabia. This was a British arms deal with Saudi Arabia, which was paid for in kind. There's Latin for that. Payment in kind. Instead of accepting cash, which would have to be reported on their taxes, have to be reported to the Rothschilds, they accepted payment in the form of oil. British Aircraft Corporation. As you'll recall, Jeffrey Epstein was like this with Adnan Khashoggi. Epstein laundered a big chunk of Adnan Khashoggi's profits from his own. He was a wheeler dealer in the Saudi circle, right? Adnan Khashoggi. Educated at Chico State, where Karen Rogers grew up, Chico, California. It's a pedophile haven. The Chico State University, California State University, Chico, studies pedophiles, and so pedophiles are allowed to live there. So it's packed with all kinds. When I was doing stand-up comedy, part of my act, I subscribed to the Chico Free, the Chico Free News or something, where the personal ads. Chico, California had the best personal ads in the country. And I wonder how many of them were written by researchers luring in people they could interview for their research. It is no coincidence that Aaron Rodgers grew up in Chico. Schoolmate of the future King of Jordan, King Hussein. Bought semi-trucks from Kenworth and leased them to the Bin Laden construction group. It's no coincidence. Okay, it's not a conspiracy that every Saudi businessman knows, because they're all cousins anyway. Otherwise, they wouldn't get within a million miles of a business license in the kingdom. Okay, so they all, somewhere out there, there's a photograph of me with a couple of very nice young gentlemen named Ibn Laden and a couple of other very nice young men named Ibn Saud. Okay, that doesn't mean anything. You've seen the episode of the Beverly Hillbillies where the sheiks, the oil sheiks, are coming to America to meet, and because Jed Clampett is an American sheik, he owns the single biggest royalty pie of any American, oil, right? So the oil company, these sheiks want to meet Mr. Clampett. So at first they're all nervous. How's it? But they get along like a house on fire. They're old fashioned. They're old fashioned people. You've seen that episode, right? Once again, Jed Clampett saves the day. Between 70 and 75, Lockheed paid Khashoggi $106 million in commissions. Do you know $100 million back then was money? $100 million back then. That's at least $1 billion in commissions. He didn't do anything but arrange deals. You've seen the movie Rollover, right? Remember Sal, his name's Salman or whatever. He's the guy that Webb, it's the agent who arranges the meeting to go to Saudi Arabia to meet the family and arrange for this loan of $500 million in this venture partnership in this petroleum company that is now suddenly owned by Jane Fonda. She's really good in that movie. I think she did a really good job playing that character in that movie. She plays a movie star, very smart, managed her own career, and then married this petrochemical guy, and he's assassinated, and now suddenly she's taking her shot at becoming chairperson of the company, because she's smart and she arranges this deal. Okay, so my point is, the agent Sal, who arranges this meeting, I'm pretty sure he's based on Adnan Khashoggi. No, he's not based on Mr. 5%. He was Iranian. I think he's based on Adnan Khashoggi. Khashoggi became, for all practical purposes, a marketing arm of Lockheed. And that's according to the vice president of Lockheed's international marketing. Let's see, developing contacts with CIA officers James Critchfield and Kim Roosevelt. And B.B. Rebozo, close friend of President Richard Nixon. If you've ever seen Never Say Never Again, that was his yacht, the Nabila. He sold the yacht to the Sultan of Brunei, who sold it to Donald Trump. Who sold it at a loss to Prince Al-Walid bin Talal in order to keep his Taj Mahal casino out of bankruptcy. David Sterling, providing David Sterling with weapons. You've heard of Mark Turi? No, you haven't heard of Mark Turi, but you will. I've mentioned him once or twice. Triad International. Operation Moses. Airlifting 14,000 Ethiopian Jews from Sudan to Israel. Oh, that's like, they consider themselves the real Jews, right? You know that, right? Ethiopian, mostly, black Jews considered themselves to be the real Jews, and Jesus was a black Ethiopian. You know that, right? Richard Pearl, Khashoggi and Richard Pearl. Okay, I think you get the point. Before that, Nasser Kazemini, Norm Coleman. Before that, hold on. What did I say I was going to come back to? Vince Foster, Timothy McVeigh. Do not get me started on Timothy McVeigh. Charlie Tree is going to be a big thing when we start talking about the Clintons more. Yeah, he went to the same church. Okay. Let me take a look at the chat. One of your goats had twins today? Isn't that one of the signs of the apocalypse? You're gonna... You know, goat milk is the best. You know that, right? Didn't they do genetics tests that proved what? Ethiopia might have the Ark of the Covenant. They could easily have the Ark of the Covenant. The Jesus ben Simon ben Sirach, okay, it's in the Apocrypha. He could easily have been black. He came from the Alexandria temple. He was an apostolos. He's the Jesus who goes to the synagogues and starts teaching the new doctrine. He gets kind of rolled up into this big character we call Jesus. There's a very high probability he was Coptic Christian and black from Ethiopia. Could easily have been. He could easily have been. But we'll never know for sure. In Axum? Yeah, maybe. Goat milk is funky? Goat milk is sweet. You've never tried it? It doesn't separate like cow's milk, and it's sweet like, well, human milk. So you take the best of both worlds. Goat milk is, you put a couple drops of vanilla in it, you got yourself a milkshake. Yeah, it doesn't separate. Oh, thank you, Medley. It doesn't separate like cow's milk. Yeah, the British, the Holy Grail, the Ark of the Covenant, somehow these all ended up in England. Oh, hi, Baby Bull. Baby Bull, what was it you told me? It was the name of the chef. The chef, Jimmy Kimmel Chef. Because I knew exactly what Karen Rogers meant when he said what he said. He didn't say Jimmy Kimmel's name would be on there. He just said Jimmy Kimmel didn't want the list to come out. Jimmy Kimmel friend. I could not remember what the hell that was. Jimmy Kimmel Chef. Adam Perry Lang. That's right. He was arrested in Kimmel's house. video goes viral. Let's see here. I won't keep you guys much longer. Is there video? That's not video. Yeah, they were friends. Maybe it's just the ayahuasca talking. Yeah, forget that. So, Adam Perry Lang. Jimmy Kimmel cooks a steak. Oh, yeah. See, he was promoting his restaurant and everything.
I'm Adam Perry Lang of APL Restaurant.
Hi, congratulations on your third location.
Thanks, but it has its challenges. Keeping everyone connected is... And tracking deliveries has been...
Then I'll go.
Today, cooking a steak with my buddy Jimmy Kimmel. Come on, let's go.
Why do they call it ribeye?
Because
that's the eye?
This cut is like the eye, and it's like the primo. You know, the distinguishing is like the eye. So it's like from the rib, and it's the eye.
And this is all cow, right? There are no muskrats or anything like that in here?
Muskrats.
All right.
It's actually be good. You'll do some butchering.
It'd be good for me to butcher something other than my own show. And you just do this with your hands, right? It's all karate style?
Yeah, exactly.
If you need any help, I'm right back.
I think you get the point. So that's the big news. Now, Saturday, I'll probably stream again. I might stream again tomorrow. I'm having fun. Sunday, we're going to take a look at... Now, so you can either... There is now... You can pay $9.99 a month for a YouTube membership to this channel. You can click the join button on this video or on the channel page, where right next to where it says subscribe, for you follow for free. You can join. It's $9.99 a month. I will stream the premium episodes to those members only. Okay? Somebody subscribed already. Thank you very much. Or you can click the link and go to the website and do it that way. A little harder. That's up to you. If YouTube kills the thing, they kill the thing. But if it's easier for you, and it would be for me, I think I figured. I've been doing a lot of testing last couple of years. Stay out of trouble, but I don't break the law or do anything like that. So Sunday's episode will be streamed to the members only section of the YouTube channel. There will be a pregame, and then that will end, and then it will start streaming to the members only YouTube. And of course it will stream to the website that's been going on for over a year now. You can do either one. It doesn't matter to me. I make about the same profit either way, if it's easier for you. I would love it if the members only on the YouTube worked out for us. It just makes it a billion times easier for me. And it's easier for you guys. And it's just such a pain. Either pay somebody $500 a month or roll the dice on YouTube. Well, and the other thing is, it'd be okay if I could just start another YouTube, but I have to get up to 1,000 subscribers again. But those are your two choices for watching premium episodes. And the one on Sunday is going to be about not just Epstein, but like these modern pedo arrests, pizza traffickers, and how they're connected directly to this money laundering and stuff that Epstein was connected to. etc., etc. You're going to see that. It's going to be a long episode. So, okay? So thank you all very much. Good night. God bless. Please spay and neuter your cannibals. And I'll see you... If I don't see you tomorrow, I'll see you Saturday. I'll do some more live streaming. I'm Professor Thomas Henry Horan, asking you to please stay plugged in to the Stones Unturned podcast.
He reads everything.